Hello my lovelies, and welcome to a Kooky corner of YouTube, where today I'm going to go through a technique video. Momigami, very popular at the moment and very simple and so easy to do, and can be made quite complicated if you want it to be. It really is up to the finish that you require from your paper. I'm going to let you go off and I want you to just grab a piece of print paper, just an ordinary piece of print paper, and we'll go through it together as I've gone through these papers. So just grab yourself a piece of paper and then we'll do it together. But first of all, I want to show you some of the things that I have done, my little experimentations with it. I did do it a long time ago as part of a needlework course that I did. This is getting on a few years now, probably about 10 years ago. And the paper that we produced, we used as a backing for exploratory work with collage. So underneath the back of all this embroidery and applique is an old brochure. Would you believe? It's an old brochure from a tourist information shop. And we did the technique I'm going to describe to you now. And we didn't use anything apart from just the crumpling of the paper to get the effect. So if you can see in the background, you can see buildings and things. It's obviously from an information brochure. There's even some words down here, an email address. But it's really effective, really nice, quick and lovely way to get some collage papers, or get some papers that you can stitch into, because clearly here I've done a lot of stitching into this. I've done hand stitching and machine stitching. It's a little velvet leaf there. That's another piece of a cardboard that I've been stitching into. That's some just little threads that I've couched down. And there I've rubbed in some wax over the top, which is a really other good technique to do. There I've got some embossed foil, bits of sweet papers. You can go to town with this, and it really is a very simple way of working. Now, when I did this piece, what we did to strengthen it slightly was to back it with some stabilizer, so some interfacing or stabilizer, just so that you got something to work into. And that's a good technique to use as well if you're going to put a lot of heavy sewing into it. But I'm sure you can agree, it's a really simple, very cheap material to work with. So let me go through some of the things that I have used to make some of my samples up. So let me pop that to one side. I'll put it back in its little baggie and keep it in there. Keep it safe. There we go. So the simplest thing, print paper, and this is what we're going to do now. Simple piece of print paper. So I'm going to grab mine out. I've just got half of one here because I've got little scraps of it hanging around. I'm not going to use anything on this at all. It's just going to be the crumple paper. So if you would like to go along with me, what we need to do is to put your paper on the floor. Move that out of the way now. I'll explain more about the Konnyaku starch in a moment. Piece of paper, and you want to kind of just fold the corners in. This kind of protects the edges of your paper a little bit before you get into the crumpling. Now, it's a really good technique to use if you want to get rid of some frustration or if you want to be annoying and sit in front of the television and crumple paper while someone's trying to watch a film. It really doesn't take long. You can work at it as little or as much as you want to get the desired effect that you want. So when you've crumpled it for a while, literally, you just open it out. I'm going to be a little bit careful at this point in time because paper is still quite brittle. And you can see it's starting to break down the fibres in the paper, which is what it's intended to do. Keep crumpling. Keep going, keep crumpling. Just keep crumpling. You can do this at any point in time with any kind of paper you like. Just don't go with very vintage paper or These prints fine, you just end up with a lot of ink on your hands. So some papers ink will transfer, some papers won't. It really just depends. So it's just experimentation. Try all the different papers. You'll be grasping for bits of brochures that come through your letterbox. Unwanted mail. You can use it for this technique. I'm going to open it out again. And the thing is as well, if you're going to make a piece, say a book cover, you will want to make your piece, you want to scrumple up a piece that is much larger than a piece that you're going to want to cover with, because it does shrink down, you think. It's such a nice technique. It's good exercise for your hands, actually. You can even roll it. You can roll it in a ball, screw it up. Sometimes you will form holes. Don't worry about them. It's all part of the process. She said, I have done many different varieties and ways of Momigami to create collage papers, which is just a simple and quick way to get some textured paper. Kind of looks like a crumpled tissue at the minute, but this is without any oil at all. Okay, so you get a nice starchy feel as well. Now, traditionally, what they used to do was, in Japan, they would use something called Konnyaku starch, which is like just a starch mixed with water. So you could use like a tapioca, or you could use a rice flour, which will give you the same kind of effect. For that, you would brush it all over your paper first, then let it dry, and then you would do this technique afterwards. If you don't want it to be a stiff fabric, you want it to be more fabric-like, then the thing that you would probably use is either an oil. So you could use olive oil, you could use rapeseed oil, you could use any kind of cooking oil that you've got to hand, basically vegetable oil. You can also use lotions and potions that you'd use for your hair or on your body, but I'll go into that in a minute. So open it out again. And you can start to feel it. It's starting to feel much more velvety. It doesn't feel like print paper at all anymore. It does feel more fabricy. And the more you work at this, hold it the other way now, the more you work at this, the more fabric-like it becomes, and it's breaking down the fibres that make the paper. And obviously different papers work in different ways. So my advice to you is to grab all the different kinds of paper you can put your hands on and try it and see which you like the best. It is a case of just suck it and see and try it, you know, and see which technique suits you the best. So again, we open it out. It's definitely a lot softer. It seems to be kind of strong as well. It's got a strength to it. You don't want to be pulling it too hard, obviously, but it's got some kind of a strength and a bit of a drape to it now as well. So it's coming together nicely. Hope you are doing this along with me. I'm not alone sitting here screwing up a piece of paper over and over again. But it's really, as I say, good exercise for your fingers as well. Gets your fingers moving. Okay, so we're going to end up with something that looks a little like this. If you keep going with this, it will just keep getting more and more softer. I know some people go for about 20 minutes with one piece. I am too impatient. But you could do two at once. If you wanted to do two pieces at once, you could do that as well. Opening it out. And you're left with a supremely beautiful texture that you can then use in your collage work. Or stitch stabilizer on the back like I did with this piece and stitch into it. It's really, really, really simple. Anybody can do this. You can do this with children, tiny toddlers can do this. This is, believe it or not, another one of these, but in this one I've used hair oil. I had an old bottle of this Kerastase hair oil stuck around in a cupboard somewhere, and I thought, wonder what it's like with that. Well, it's like that, and it smells, oh, it smells divine. Smell really nice. So that again is just plain old print paper. Look, it looks like Kleenex, doesn't it, at the minute? An old Kleenex. But the next thing you need to do is to try different papers. So I've got a bit there that I was kind of just painting onto to see a little bit of a text. That's just watercolour paint on there. This is mulberry paper. So good old mulberry paper, you know what that looks like. But when you Momigami it, it becomes a proper, really lace-like fabric, and it's just beautiful. You can see through it. It's glorious. And this was done with yeah, I did that with the hair oil. But it's just so lovely. It does feel like a fabric now, completely. So that was mulberry paper. Craft paper. This is the back of an envelope. I saved the front of the envelope because it was from the lovely Granny Sue, and it had a really nice stamp on it. But the back of the envelope, I just grabbed to Momigami it, and you can still keep crunching it. This one doesn't have anything at all on it. It's just crunched as it was. And it's still turned into this nice flexible fabric-y kind of material. Apart from where the glue was, this was the back of the envelope obviously, but if this was a piece of just craft paper, it would all go in the same direction. Tissue paper. So tissue paper, that tissue paper you may recognise if some of you bought some of the brooch kits. This is what I used. But then I Momigami'd it. Yeah, that's got the hair oil on it as well. It smells beautiful, to say. And again, you've got texture. Beautiful texture. And this is tissue paper, like another kind of tissue paper, floral one. Look at the difference in size. So that's what it looks like as is. And when you've Momigami'd it, all the little flowers shrink down. Can you see they're a lot smaller? You can see the size difference. It does shrink. So it shrinks it down, but it makes it into this fabric like, oh, it's just glorious, and it's really lovely to hold. This one I believe I did with, where is it? Hand cream. So I've got my O'Keeffe's working hands. I always have this on my desk. So I thought, oh, what do it's like with hand cream? That's what it's like with hand cream. So hand cream and lotion is a really cool thing to try and use, and it does get some kind of a strength to it as well. So that's that one. Let's pop that to one side. Okay, a little bit of a travel brochure. It's pretty cool, lots of nice colours on it, really good to use in collage and stuff. What if you could use it in your stitching? And voila, this is the same as that. And this has just been done in the same way with a little bit of good old O'Keeffe's working hands in it. And it works a treat. Look how soft and supple that is, and it just feels like a leathery, velvety. It's really hard to describe until you've actually felt it, but it's really cool. And just look at all the colours you can get from a printed piece. This is a matte kind of a paper. It's kind of no sheen to it or gloss or anything. I do intend to try a glossy piece and see what happens. But the matte papers that you can get on the brochures that they give away nowadays are really cool to use. They're just so nice. So then I thought, okay, so it works with print paper. I do a lot of my jelly prints and also painted papers just on plain old printer paper to use it in collage. So I thought, okay, I've got some collage paper. This is the stuff where I clean my brushes off when I'm working with paint onto just a scrappy old piece of printer paper, but I still use this as a collage paper. I wanted to see what it looked like if I momigamied it. This is what it looks like. Soft, beautiful. You can see there, stitched into it. You can stitch into it. The colours are slightly muted, maybe because this is like an acrylic on here. So this is just like dregs of acrylic paint. But I think it's just glorious. I think it's beautiful. And I'm going to be using this in a collage in another episode further along the line. So keep yourself tuned if you would like to see me do that and maybe do some along with me. So yeah, there's a little strip of it that would look perfect in a collage of some kind. And it's so strong. So strong. So let's get back to our original piece that we've been working on. Now say I wanted this to be a little softer. Okay, so I've got I know that this works, my O'Keeffe's Working Hands. I've got some of this body lotion. So I'm going to try this now. I'm just going to, you can get lovely hands as well. You get like a manicure, do a manicure and get your hands done as well. And you just continue to scrunch and scrunch. And instantly I can feel that changing. You can feel it softening and changing. And it becomes more leather-like. It's just such a cool surface to work on. And as I say, olive oil works really well. As I say, any cooking oil that you've got works really well. So, and any lotion, it doesn't have to be an expensive lotion, you know, just a cheap old lotion, just try it and see how it goes. Because I think that it would work super well with anything like that. If you want it to be stiffer, then you'd have to do the Konnyaku starch method, where you dissolve some starch into water. You can get Konnyaku starch, you can buy it, but you could do the same with like a rice flour or a tapioca flour. That would work as well. And you coat your paper with a big brush on both sides, let it dry, and then do the Momigami technique on that as well. And it does strengthen your paper. But look how this is softened up. Look at it. And can you imagine with a jelly print on top? And how soft and fluid like that is now. And that's a piece of print paper. I'm starting to get some holes forming now. I'm not too worried about that because it's going to be ripped up into collage paper anyway. But I think it's a really, really cool way of getting a very textured fabric to use in many different ways, because some people use this as book coverings. It's traditionally used as parasol coverings, as I say, book coverings and things like that, and for decorative pieces. And it's just so soft now, so soft. Beautiful. It is more leathery now that I have added in the body lotion. So if you want it to be kind of still crumply, a little bit with a bit of hold to it, then don't add in the lotion, just crumple it up. If you want it to be softer and more fabric-like, add in lotion or oil. And report back to me and let me know how you get on. And I hope you've all been crumpling along. I hope you have, with your piece of print paper or whatever you have to hand. If you've got an envelope or something, just try the back of an envelope or the front of an envelope. The back still has some glue on where it gets glued down, but anywhere where you've got a clear surface, it's good to go. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this. This is just a very quick technique video. I will be doing something with my papers when I've got myself a few of them together, and we'll do a little collage piece with some stitching involved, because that's one of my plans coming up soon. Okay, have a fabulous day, and I will be back again soon, right here, with something else. Bye for now.